감사합니다. 영생 17과를 펴주시고
Let's look at the key to happiness, chapter 17.
우리들의
Our real Father
심판에서
who weeps in the judgment seat. Page 156.
내가 보았는데 왕자가 놓이고
I watched till thrones were put in
그때부터
place,
항상
and the Ancient of Days was
자정하셨는데
seated.
그 옷은 희귀가
His garment was white as
머리털은
snow, and the hair of his head like pure wool. His throne was a fiery flame, its wheels a burning fire. A fiery stream issued and came forth from before him. 1,000 thousands ministered to him. 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. The court was seated and the books were opened. And I saw the dead, small and great, standing before God. And the books were opened. Another book was opened, which is the book of life. And the dead were judged according to their works, by the things which were written in the books. And the kings of the earth, the great men, the rich men, the commanders, the mighty men, every slave and every free man were all summoned before the throne. Daniel, who cannot lie, saw the judgment which is to take place. This judgment is for every single person who is born in this earth, and each person must stand before the throne of judgment. Daniel says, just as he saw, I watched till thrones were put in place, and the Ancient of Days was seated. The seat which the judge sits on is not a dead throne, but a living throne, a living seat. And he is the Ancient of Days. And his garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head pure wool, white like wool. His throne was a fiery flame, its wheels a burning fire. A fiery stream issued and came forth from before him. This fiery stream which can burn this whole earth, this fire which no human can put out, was streaming forth. And there were 1,000 thousands ministering to him. 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. So there are 1,000 thousands ministering to him, and 10,000 times 10,000 all around him. They are the very ones who are the witnesses who follow these sinners around. And this 1,000, thousands, 10,000 times 10,000 are angels. And one angel can kill 185,000 men. And they follow each sinner and followed them everywhere they went and saw all the acts that were committed. And so they will be called as witnesses for the judgment. That's why they are by the throne. And that's why there will not be one sinner who will lie, and who can dare lie. Then who were called out to be judged? People who used to talk big. And I saw the dead, small and great, standing before God. Already beginning from the time of Adam and Eve, all those that were dead, small and great, kings of the earth, great men, rich men, commanders, mighty men, every slave and every free man, all those people who once used to talk big were called out one by one, and they were all standing, waiting for their turn.
그래서 이건 다니엘 선자랑 또 반모섬의 사도 요한 선자랑 둘이 동시에 같은
Daniel
우주 보좌 우주 재판장을
and John the apostle both saw this same judgment taking place.
재판장도 그 시시한 죄인이 앉아서 재판한다고 하는
You know, even in the courts of this world, where there's a sinner sitting judging us, sometimes we are so afraid that some people can't even remember their address. Then, when people are called before this throne of fire, the very throne where fiery streams come forth, where there are 1,000 thousands and 10,000 times 10,000 all around the throne, how can there be anyone who does not fear and tremble before this throne of judgment? But there stands one lawyer in this great judgment hall. Who is he?
우리
Jesus.
아버지 사랑을 그렇게 부탁하면서
He who came to us to share to us our real Father's love.
한 분이 서 계시다 이 말입니다.
He is that one man, that one lawyer, Jesus.
그 사람은 참 복 있는 사람입니다.
Whoever receives
그래서 여기 이런
his
말씀.
advocacy is truly blessed. So it's written like this.
범하면
If anyone sins, we have an advocate with the Father, Jesus Christ the righteous.
그러므로 자기를
He is also able to save to the uttermost those who come to God through him, since he ever lives to make intercession for them.
죄를 위하여 간구하십니다. 그래서 이 세상은 변호사 걸려 못 다니죠.
So there are so many lawyers in this world. And if you go to court, there's this lawyer, that lawyer.
근데 우주에 그 어마어마한 불꽃 보좌 앞에
But even in this great universal judgment,
빠져나갈 수 없는 그래서
where not one sinner can avoid, even Confucius said that no matter how wide this universe may be, there's not one sinner who will be able to make it out of the net of judgment.
귀한 하나님 아들이었습니다.
Confucius was truly a precious son of God.
그래서 이 어마어마한 불꽃 보좌 앞에 죄인들이 하나씩
Each sinner is called before this throne of judgment.
변호사는 하나뿐이.
But there's only one lawyer there.
이 변호사에게 변호를 받는 사람들은 참 복 있는
And
사람입니다.
blessed are those for
이
whom
사람은 깨끗합니다.
this lawyer
이
says,
사람 의로운
this man is
사람입니다.
innocent.
이 사람
He is a
나의
righteous man.
죄수임을 받은
He has
사람입니다.
cleansed himself through my
이 사람은
blood.
하늘의
He is
사랑을
fit
받을
for
될
heaven.
사람입니다. 이렇게 이 변호사
If this
한
lawyer
번만
just
오직
says these words, then the judge allows him to go past judgment.
현장 검증 필요 없어요.
They don't need
현장
to look at any proof or
틀렸기
they don't need any
무사통과.
hear any witnesses.
그날에 여러분 이 변호사의
I hope that
변호를 받으시기
on that day you will receive the advocacy
이
of this
집회가 무슨
lawyer.
시간인지 아신다면 참 좋겠어요.
It'd be nice if you knew what kind of meeting, what kind of seminar this seminar is.
그다음에 그 불꽃 보좌에 앉아 계신 재판장께서
Then
천천히
the
입을
judge who sits on the throne says, Behold, it is written before me, I will not keep silence, but will repay, even repay into their bosom your iniquities and the iniquities of your fathers together, says the Lord, who have burned incense on the mountains and blasphemed on the hills. Therefore I will measure their former work into their bosom.
우주 불꽃
On this fiery
보좌에
throne,
앉아 계신 재판장
the judge who sits on that throne says,
내 일생이
Behold,
내 앞에 다
all that you've
너희
done,
일생이 기록되어 있으니 내가
all your life,
참담히
it's written
선포
before me.
반드시 보응하되.
I will not keep silence,
이 산
but will
그렇게
repay.
머리 좋다고 허기 좋다고
There may be many people
사람들이 어리석하다고
who are smart
쏘기치고 남 죽이고 억울하게
and
해가지고
clever and they trick
돈 벌고
innocent, simple-minded people.
잘 살고 출세하고
And then all those who live like that, rich, with power and authority, who ruined other people's lives,
영혼들 망치고
and who ruined people's souls,
이 앞에서는 참 하나님의
it will all be
공의의
written
심판대.
before him, before this fair judgment.
모든 다 심판받는. 그래서 여기 뭐라 했어요?
So what does it say here? I will not keep silence, but will repay, even repay into their bosom
그들의 영혼에 보호하는 거예요.
your iniquities and the iniquities of your father together,
그들이
says the Lord, who have burned incense on the mountains and blasphemed on the hills. Therefore,
내가 먼저 그 일생의
I will
행위를
measure
가지고
their former work,
그의
all that they've done their whole life,
여호와가
into their
말하였다.
bosom.
자, 그럼 이 재판장에서
Then,
심판받는 죄
what kind of sins are we judged for? Let's read.
읽어보세요.
이제 지금부터 재판받을
In the courtrooms of this world,
세상 인간들의
the charges are judged according to the severity of the crime.
But
in the heavenly court, Trial begins by strict investigation of the motives that had been held in mind before the crime was originated, and all the secret purposes and motives that had been held throughout the lifetime.
이 세상의 심판은
When criminals are judged on this world, they say, how many times did he sin? How much did he steal? How many times? How many people did he kill? And they look at the severity of the crime, the end result. How
그
much?
사람이 그 범죄를 저질 그 동기가
But in heaven, they look at
얼마나
what was his secret motive, his secret purpose. How evil was it?
그 동기가 중요해. 동기부터
So it
시작해가지고
begins by looking at the motives. And then
그 사람이 평생을 살면서 가졌던
every
모든
thought,
숨은 뜻과 동기,
every
모든
wrong word,
생각들,
every
그리고
deed
입으로
done,
나온 모든 악한 말,
all hidden
모든
selfishness,
행위, 모든 숨은
every unjust
뜻과
account,
온갖 공정하지 않고
and every unfair
정직하지
dealing and
못한
thought.
행위와 생각들.
그래서 그 사람이 남은 몰라요.
People don't
아내도
know.
모르고 남편도 모르고
Even their own husband or wife or children will not know. But every thought, all those secret
그리고
motives,
한번 뱉은 말,
and purposes,
크든 큰
every
말이든
wrong
작은
word,
말이든지
regardless of what
어떤
kind of
말이든
word,
그날의 심판.
they will all be judged for every single thing.
그래서 모든 악한 말, 모든
Every
행위,
thought, every wrong word, every deed done, all hidden selfishness, every unjust account, and every unfair dealing and thought. What
날마다의
else?
크고 작은 말과
Every big and
행동들,
small word,
공포에 대한
an
자기
act of
본분을
every
다하지
day,
못한 일,
unfulfilled
시간을
duties to
낭비한
their
것,
fellow men,
모든 태만,
wasted moments,
하늘의
every
경건한
negligence,
선택을 등한히
heaven-sent
하는 것.
warnings or reproofs neglected,
공포에 대한 자기 본분을 행치 못한
unfulfilled duties to their fellow men.
불쌍한 죽어간 동포들을
Though their fellow men
친아버지께
are dying
힘들어 했더라면 그들이 살았을 텐데
because they were lazy and did not lead them to our real daddy, they died. And on that day of judgment, they must be responsible for that.
시간을 낭비하고
And they wasted
정말 하나님이
their
기도하는
time.
하지 않고
Instead of
엉뚱한
doing
데
God's work, they wasted their time doing other things.
그리고 하늘의 경고와 견제를
Heaven said warnings or reproofs neglected.
하늘의 경고, 마지막 하늘의 경고를
By rejecting the last warnings from heaven,
하게 될 것입니다.
they must answer to that.
기회를 놓친 것,
Unimproved opportunities.
구원받을 수
They had the
있는
opportunity
기회가
to be
끊임없이
saved,
고의적으로 필요 없다고
but they chose not to take that opportunity. And they said, I'll go next time.
심판을 받게
And
됩니다. 또요.
they'll be judged for that.
이 요구를 등한히
Forgetfulness of the
예수님
Savior's
부탁을
claims.
등한시하고 버린 것도
How
하나님께
often
속한
they gave the
시간과
same
마음의
thought and
생각과
strength
힘을
that belonged to
얼마나
God.
사단에게 자주 준 것.
예,
The
하나님께서
time
시간과 마음의
and thought
생각을
which they gave to
사단에게
Satan, they will be judged for it.
여러분
know, just
머리라고
because
여러분 마음대로 생각하면 안 돼.
It's your brain. It doesn't mean you
이
can think of
손을
anything.
이 손으로 남을
Because you have
칼로
a
찔러서
hand,
남 욕하고 죽이는데
It's not given to you
남을 치는데
to use to
쓰는
strike
손으로
someone or stab
죽이지
someone
않아요.
or slap someone.
이 손으로 불쌍한 모든 세상 사람들과 인류를
This
위해서
hand was given
봉사하고
for you
선한
to
일을
serve
쓰라고
others
손을
and to
주신
do
것이지
good
남을
for all of our
때리는
brethren,
손으로 주신 건 아니라 이 말입니다.
all of our fellow brethren in this
마찬가지로 이
world.
머리를
And the
주신
same
것은
thing,
그
our brain was
더러운
given to us
생각,
not to think dirty
그거
thoughts.
하라고 주신지 않았어요.
It was given to
거룩한
us
생각을,
to think holy thoughts
거룩한 일을
for
행하라고
holy
줬다 이
works.
말입니다. 근데 이 세상 사람들은
But the
사단의
people of this
생각을
world,
다 뺏기고 사단이 끌고 다니는
They are
대로
dragged by
하는
Satan,
짓을 내면서
and they do
그런
whatever
사람을
Satan tells them to do. And they think dirty thoughts and do dirty acts. And they will be judged for all of that.
여러분이 영화관이나
And
TV를 보셨죠?
just as you watch on TV or in
영화관에
movies,
가면
you can see everything. You can see their hair flying.
크 나와요.
You can
입술
see their lips
달라지는 거 다
moving.
나와요.
You can see their
눈을
eyes
비니까 다
blinking.
나와요. 또 오늘날
And even the
재판에서는
court today, they turn on a
논문을
tape player and they say,
그래,
"Didn't you
너
say
왜
this?"
얘기 안 했냐고 막.
And
그럼
whatever
그
they said was
사람
recorded
말이
so
다
they can
나와요.
hear it.
이것이 바로 인간이 만드는
This is what they
심판이에요.
do in the courts of the world, and these are what they use.
우주 재판장에서
But then,
숨은
how is that
뜻과
in
본인
heaven that
생각
all
나오는
of our
다
hidden motives and thoughts
인간의
and purposes,
재판에서
how will it not
인간의
be shown?
머리카락
Even in the
나오는
courts
것까지
of this
다
world,
나오는데
you can hear voices, you can see everything clearly.
한번 스쳐지지 지나간
So in heaven,
전부 그
all of our
심판
passing
속에
thoughts
나타난다 이 말입니다.
and hidden motives will all be shown clearly. We can't make excuse for it either.
또요.
Continue.
그가 단 한 번
And every
생각하고
thought,
잊어버렸던
however
작은
small,
생각들까지
that
명확히
flashed upon the mind, which may be forgotten by us, all these are faithfully recorded in the book. Moreover, all sins that may have been committed, if opportunity had permitted, absorption in the acquirement of worldly possessions or the enjoyment of earthly pleasure, the influence exerted for evil with its far-reaching results are all passing review before God and strictly investigated and judged.
오늘날 사람들은
Nowadays,
기회가
people
없어 죄를
don't sin because they don't have the opportunity. They would sin if they just had the opportunity.
얼마나 못된
How
사람인지
wicked
몰라요.
those people are.
기회가 없어서
They just are waiting for the opportunity.
이미 받은 사람들도
And people who
기회가
receive
없어서
this light
죄를
also
많습니다.
are just waiting for the opportunity to sin. And they will sin if they just had that opportunity, but they are not sinning because they don't have it.
그것까지 다
On that day,
그날에 재판장이
the judge
다 알고
will see all of that
심판하고
and will judge us for it, judge you for it.
지위를 구하기 위해서 하늘의 부름을 거절했던 것, 또 평생을
So
살면서
every thought-
나에게 악한 감화를 끼쳤던 것, 여러분,
It says if you're
여러분이 만약
the influence exerted for evil with its far-reaching results. Let's say
여러분의 그 죄를 지키에
someone saw you
모습을 보고
sin
같이
and also
따라
sinned
죄를
with
지은
you,
사람들, 같이
followed
따라
you,
죽은
then you must be
사람들은
responsible for them.
아,
Oh,
그
that certain
아무리
pastor
목사님이
said,
갔다 왔는데
went
그거
to that meeting and said it was no good. Oh, really?
그런
If that
목사님들인데 아주
pastor said so, then
많은
I'm not going to go.
사람들이
And
그냥 그
those
목사님
who
감화를 받고
received that
악한
evil
감화를
influence
같이 주는다면
and rejected
그때 그 목사님
the opportunity to come here,
영혼들의
that pastor must be responsible for their deaths.
또
Then when you go to
그런
heaven,
사람들
oh, so-and-so,
아, 그
that
한국의
pastor
목사님
said that
거기에
that meeting was the
참신이라고
truth.
그것밖에
He said that that is where the light is. And if they come here and they go to heaven,
실천하게 되면 많은 사람 담대함을
and they
가지고
stand on the
의의
side of
편을
righteousness,
져서 그런다면
then that pastor
그
will be
목사님이
awarded,
상급을
rewarded for it.
그래서 우리가
So, though it seems like you live your life the way you want, it's not at all. You are sellers of your influence. And that's why people who cannot even see my face, they'll say, oh, so-and-so. And those who receive the influence for good and for holiness will also be rewarded. The supreme judge of the universe is never deceived by the appearance of piety in hypocrites. You may deceive your church members, but you cannot deceive the supreme judge. Beginning with those who live first upon the earth, the case of every single person of each successive generation is presented, closing with the living. Every name is mentioned, every case closely investigated. Names are accepted, names rejected. In the courts of this world, when time comes, they say, bang, bang, let's wait until, let's delay, let's extend to another date. But in heaven, there's limitless time. So, beginning from Adam up to now, there may be millions and billions and trillions, but it doesn't matter. There's no lack of time. There's no limit of time. So each person will be called one by one. You know what our Father loves us? He loves each one of us as if we're the only one. Even if there are 50 billion people on this earth, He loves you as if you're the only one, even counting the hairs on your head. Then in the time of judgment, He judges that person, that sinner, as if he's the only sinner on this earth. And some names are accepted and they are taken to heaven. Some names are rejected and they are left to die. Let's continue reading. The mightiest conqueror upon the earth cannot call back the record of even a single day. Our acts, our words, even our most secret motives, all have their weight in deciding our destiny for weal or woe. Though they may be forgotten by us, they will bear their testimony to justify or condemn. So it doesn't matter. Even the mightiest conqueror who carried his sword around to try and conquer this whole earth, they cannot call back the record of even a single day, a single hour, or a single second, and they'll be judged for everything. All their acts, words, and secret motives will determine their life and death. That's why Jesus said, if your right eye causes you to sin, pluck it out and cast it from you. For it is more profitable for you that one of your members perish than for your whole body to be cast into hell. And if your right hand causes you to sin, cut it off and cast it from you. For it is more profitable for you that one of your members perish than for your whole body to be cast into hell. That's why Jesus said, because Jesus knew that each person will be called out to be judged, He said, if your right eye causes you sin, pluck it out. If your hand causes you to sin, cut it off. He's not telling us to literally pluck it out and cut it off, but He's telling us, whatever you have to do, don't sin, and stand in front of the heavenly judge as a sinless person. Because if there's one sin, even the bit of sin, that sinner cannot be saved. Did you not learn yesterday? Even if we have the slightest spot of sin, we cannot go to heaven. And heaven will not accept us. And will you believe these words? Then from the moment you were born up to now, all the words, all your deeds, all your thoughts, even your secret motives and purposes, opportunities to sin, which all these things, all these sins, even thousands and 10,000 you may commit every day, you'll be judged for it. In front of that day of judgment, you cannot even have the slightest bit of sin because you cannot go to heaven. Then can you stand before the judgment without a spot of sin? Then let's ask Deacon Che from the Methodist Church, can you stand without the spot of sin? Of course, we can stand confident. There's not one person on this earth who can stand confident No matter what pastor, even the Pope,
어떤 목사, 어떤 신부, 어떤 법왕이
they will
거기
not stand. They will not be able to
털끌망치
stand in confidence without sin.
통과로 천국에 갈 사람이 있겠어요, 여러분?
No matter what religious leader, they will have to go to this court with 10, 20, hundreds of trucks of their sin. They will sin. They committed thousands of sins every single day in their life.
100년 일생 동안 졌으니 여러분
Do you know how much people eat
입으로 씹어 먹는 것이
throughout their lifetime?
입으로 아침 저녁
That calculated about 20 truckloads. That's how much work our teeth do.
이 이빨이 그렇게 많은
But people commit sin so much more than eating. Then how many trucks of sin will there be? So it doesn't matter what pastor, what Catholic priest, even the Pope, even if they fasted 30, 40, even many more days, they must go to court with truckloads of sin. Isn't this so? There's not one person in this world who can be saved. That's why Jesus said that it would be like a time of Noah.
그래서 노아의 때같이 구원받을 자가 없겠다고 말씀한 거예요. 그런데
But what happened to all of you yesterday? Those who return to our real Father, what happens?
하늘 친 아버지께 돌아온 사람들만
Right before you go into the throne of judgment, Jesus calls you and He forgives you of your iniquity, transgression, and sin.
악과 과시와 죄를 몽땅
All the sins you were born with, your mistakes, by accident and on purpose.
실손 죄악
Then, do you have any more sin? You don't have any sin right before you enter this judgment.
걸려요, 안 걸려요?
I wish you knew what kind of seminar this seminar was.
무엇인지 좀 알았으면 좋겠어요.
This seminar is a seminar.
이 집회가
It's a message which will allow us you to pass through judgment.
통과시키는 기분.
And though you attend the seminar so many times, you still don't know. You'll go back to the world and take the burden of sin and die again. And that's why I'm so frustrated. What an amazing love it is of our Father. This can fulfill our salvation. And this is a seminar which gets rid of all of our sin. There's not one person who can live, who can pass judgment, who does not receive this message. Because if you have even the slightest bit of sin, you will not be able to pass judgment.